We are now in a very exciting stage. It is time to learn the theme for Twinkle. You've really come a long way now, and this is a big occasion, so pat yourself on the back. In Twinkle theme, which you can find on page 26, toward the bottom of the page, you're going to see that the Suzuki folks have actually totally taken out all of the fingerings, and they've given you notes here which are comprised of quarter notes and half notes. So what's a quarter note, what's a half note? Well, let's talk about which one is which first. The quarter notes are the ones that are filled in with ink. The half notes are the ones that are not filled in with ink. Simple as that. Now, you might recall in the past I made some allusion to common time. Common time means 4/4 time. That's a 4 with a line and then a 4 underneath it. So the 4 on top means 4 beats in a measure, and the 4 on the bottom means quarter note gets the beat. Now it's actually quite easy for me to explain that to you, because if the quarter note gets a beat, and remember, a beat is just a generic clap. So that means if the quarter note gets the beat, we can think the very first measure of Twinkle is 4 quarter notes. So if I were to sing it, da, 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 dum, my beats and my notes are aligned with each other. That doesn't always have to be the case, believe it or not. There are many instances where that doesn't happen. But we'll talk about that later. But now you're understanding, I hope, a little bit what that bottom 4 means. And as you know, the top 4 means 4 beats in a measure. Now, the quarter note, as we said, gets the beat, and there's 1 beat in a quarter note as a result of that. What about a half note? A half note has 2 beats. So let's talk about that second measure. We've got quarter, quarter, half note. So we could say, oh, it's short, short, long, but that's not a really accurate way. We want to be accurate with our beats. So the second measure goes like this. Quarter, quarter, half note. The half note gets 2 beats. So that is the convention. A half note is 2 beats. And when the quarter note gets the beat, that means there are 2 quarter notes in a half note. So let's just sing the first 2 bars again. Quarter, 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 half note. That is the entire pattern throughout the whole theme. That rhythm will repeat itself every 2 measures. So try to remember that. What you can do, if you are still uncomfortable using your Twinkle theme music from the Suzuki Book 1, you can use the template, but just make sure to write 2 quarter notes above the first measure, 2 quarter notes above the second measure, and then 2 quarter notes above the third measure, and then a half note. Notice that this is not the same thing as in your Suzuki book. This is going to be a totally different way of notating it, but it might help you. So 3 measures of 2 quarters each, followed by a half note. Then another 3 measures of 2 quarters, followed by a half note. So that's going to be the pattern in this template. But that might be more confusing for you, or less confusing. It depends on your abilities to read music at this stage. Another thing you can do, if you prefer, is copy the A string, the E string, the 0, the 1, all of these fingers onto the notes into your Suzuki book. And actually, I find that that's probably the best approach, because it's going to help you to really learn the names of the notes. Well, it'll help you to learn anyway where the fingers go and on what strings. And the names of the notes, well, you can learn that based on our very beginning introductory lessons where we talked about the names of the lines and the spaces. Now might be a good time to review that. Anyway, let's play. No fancy exercises for this one, and no stopping. We're just going to play. On the string. 1, 2, A string. Let's do that a few more times. Let's do it another 2 times. On the A string, 1, 2, ready, go. So before we do it one last time, there's one extra element which you already know based on our variations, but now things kind of get a different feeling in the right hand, and that is when we were talking about string crossings. We talked about moving our elbows before when we were doing, I think it was an E string to an A string crossing, when you want to move your elbow up to the A string level. Well, you need to make sure in this case that your elbow is really going to all the places it needs to be ahead of time. We don't have any rests, but we do have long notes to help us particularly. So when you have those half notes, often there's a string crossing that precedes. So you might want to just kind of think, okay, what's coming next? And then move your elbow to the next string in order to be prepared. The other thing is, this is a theme where you need to play very smoothly. So try to make all your connections from your downs to your ups and your ups to the down very smooth. You don't want to have any kind of like, jerking kind of bow changes or anything like that. So let's try it again. Bow on the A string, and I'm going to guide you through the string crossings. 1, 2, ready, go. Cross. Now get ready to cross. Get ready to cross. Cross. Now cross. Now cross. And cross. Now we're actually going to do it one last time because there's something else I want to teach you. In one of my introductory lessons in the basics of violin, I talked about the different kinds of curves when we're changing strings. And I mentioned the fact that when you have a curve that's clockwise, that is, your arm moves in a clockwise direction, such as when you're going from A string to E string, that's a clockwise curve, a little bit like you're stirring soup. And that curve means your arm leads and your wrist follows. However, when you're doing a counterclockwise curve, let's say from the E string to the A string, when you're going this way, that's the harder one. Your wrist has to lead and be very flexible, and your arm has to follow. So let's try Twinkle one more time, and try to keep that in mind. 1, 2, on the string. Backwards curve. Forwards curve. Forwards. Backwards. Forwards. Backwards. So I didn't say all the curves, but I got all of the ones on the half notes for you, and then I got a few of the ones on the quarter notes, and you can find the other ones, I have no doubt. So this is your theme, and spend a bit of time on this. You're going to find that it really helps you for all of the pieces coming up, because almost every piece that you're going to learn in the next few lessons is going to involve long bows, and that's kind of important to feel comfortable with. So enjoy, and let's go on to the next lesson.